Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure to welcome you to the POPIA Awards for Precision Oncology. And I would especially like to thank Bayer for developing this. POPIA stands for the Bayer Precision Oncology Patient Innovation Awards, or POPIA. And we are here to celebrate two winners and all applicants. Many people worked very hard on their applications, and unfortunately, only two could be selected. So we're going to hear from them. But first, I want to introduce our panelists here today. I am Scott Howard. I'm the Chief Development Officer at San Juan de Deo Hospital in Barcelona, Spain. I also chair the Drug Access and Quality Network, which seeks to bring high-quality medicines, especially to low and middle-income countries. And I'm finally the CEO of Resonance, which has a mission to amplify health through research, education, and technology. For this project, I served as a jury member, and I'm moderating the event today. We also have with us Dr. Benedict Westphalen. He is the head of Molecular Diagnostics and Therapy Program and the Molecular Tumor Board at the Comprehensive Cancer Center in the University of Munich in Germany. He was a POPIA jury member and a panelist for today's program. I'd also like to introduce Mary Lou Smith, the president and co-founder of the Research Advocacy Network and cancer survivor and co-chair of the ECOG Akron Cancer Research Group. Unfortunately, she's not able to be with us today. And Carl Kairos, Executive Director of Children's Cancer International, an insanely effective group of parent organizations around the world supporting children with cancer, of which Dr. Eppelman, our next panelist, is a member. He served as a jury member. Dana Boali is an expert patient and a member of the Kick Cancer, an organization with a mission to cure every child's cancer. She was a jury member, and she will be our keynote speaker today. Sidney Eppelman is a pediatric oncologist. He directs the Pediatric Oncology Department, and he's the president of the NGO called TUCCA, T-U-C-C-A. He is a winner from Brazil. Jorge Lima is vice director and head of R&D at Ipatimup, and he's assistant researcher at Cancer Signaling and Metabolism Group, and affiliated professor at the FMUP. He's a winner from Portugal. And last but not least, Vadim Bernard Gauthier is the Global Medical Affairs Director for Precision Oncology at Bayer and in Global Medical Affairs, and he's here today to represent Bayer. So we're going to start with our keynote speaker, Dana, who has a lot to tell us. But Dana, first I'd like you to tell the audience about your personal journey with cancer.
Yes, hello everybody. I'm Dana Boadi, living in Belgium, and I'm the proud mother of two sons. Our oldest son was diagnosed with medulloblastoma in July 21. And after several chemo sessions and proton therapy, he unfortunately died in February 22. Hence why I'm a patient expert and involved in this project.
Certainly not the kind of expertise that anyone would ask for, but I really appreciate you being here and also your work to try to prevent the next child from succumbing to their illness. I wonder if you could tell us, when you first found out, what did you do and who did you turn to when you found out he had cancer?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was during the COVID period, so there was not a lot of let's say, resources available or possibilities to talk with other families who went through the same. So even in the hospital, we couldn't talk to others. So yeah, we discovered, and he was hospitalized for 3 weeks directly because he had the surgery first also. And yeah, we were just relying on the doctors of the hospital. We didn't have that much info. Of course, we didn't have a lot of experience neither. So yeah, we were fully relying on the doctors, and unfortunately also Dr. Google, which is not the best advisor, of course, in such kind of situations, but it's inherent as a human being, I think, to look up for information and to make sure that you have all the info you need in that situation.
If you could go back in time, what would you do differently in that first few days?
I think we asked for a second opinion, but too late, in fact. So yeah, the chemo sessions already started, so it didn't. Even if we got the results of the other one, other hospital, we couldn't change that again. So it's something where you don't think about in the first stage, let's say. But now, you're still with the question like, what if we would have done that? It's the sequence that changed. So in the Netherlands, in Princess Maxima, they would have done first the proton therapy and then the chemo sessions. So that's a question that will always be there, like, what if, of course.
Yeah. Did anybody talk to you about precision medicine or molecular targets?
No, maybe because that's also something you get so much info, and it's also very dedicated language. Let's say if you're not in the medical career path, it's very difficult to understand all the language, let's say, or the jargon. But I am supposing that it's just part of the offering in the hospitals in Belgium, let's say, which are quite advanced, to have all the precision studies, let's say, that are available in Europe, let's say.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned about the overwhelming amount of information, because I think much of our audience is actually practicing physicians. And I wonder, what advice would you give us when we're, speaking with you in the first hours and days?
Repeating, staging the info. It's so overwhelming, and I think after the first 3 sentences, you're already lost, and you're already thinking about other things and what ifs. Which I'm quite sure that we missed a lot of info, let's say. Also, you start asking about succession rates and etc. Like, okay, what's his chance? So you're more focused on that one, and you're just following what the doctors are telling you. Like, okay, who am I to challenge that? Or we didn't have any clue there. So advice there is to repeat, let's say, and put it in an easy language, understandable, because otherwise we will go and search for what does it mean, and then of course we get also other horror situations or explanations, let's say.
Well, Sydney, how do you handle this in Brazil? You have tremendous experience explaining things to people from all walks of life. What's your strategy?
I'm very pleased to hear you, Dina, and sorry about your experience. And thanks everybody for being here. I do think that she came up with a very important. We should be very, how we say that in English. We have to take the family together with us in this journey as much as we can together with us, and provide as much as information in a language that they can understand, because Dr. Google, whatever, only give you bad news. And so I think it's for everybody. I also see patients that with a very high classes, low class. Information is important for all parents, and they need to know what's going on, and they need to know what is available. I think I'm going to say it in the near future, but now we have to give the best chance, and they have to feel that we are giving the best chance for them, because they are living such a devastating moment of their lives. So we have to give the best chance for 100 chance of cure, even if it's not the outcome. That's our obligation.
Well, I love your way to say that, of carry the patients with us, because actually this starts at day one. And then, Dana, I'd like to hear, we want to carry you with us even past the death of your son. And I really appreciate that you're working in advocacy now to help support children everywhere. So I wonder if you could tell us how you bridged that loss and what you did next.
Yeah, it's the urge to help the ones that are still fighting, let's say, and in the future, and just to make sure that it's not happening, because it's just a timing issue. Things will come. There will be solutions in the future, and we just wanted to make sure that it's going faster and that every life that's not lost, let's say, is counting. It's just, as a parent, horrible to go through it. It's also very overwhelming because it's not something you plan up front. So it was just I was literally in a meeting when they called me that he was not feeling well, and I didn't come back for 15 months, so it was just ad hoc that it happens. You don't think about that up front, let's say. So for me it was really like, okay, I want to change something, and I wanted to make the loss something positive, and that it was not for nothing, let's say, like that.
Yeah. And so how did you figure out how you would invest your own efforts of all the things you could?
At this stage, so I just started that. So what I first did is following the patient expert training. Let's say they have at cancer, so to represent patients, and you can do different things. You can be just talking to other parents who go through the process. You can do really advocacy. You can do this kind of things, of course. So there are different things, and for me it was okay. First, going through the process of getting the certificates without really a name, like, okay, what would I do in the future with this? But this also, let's say, the gap, the black hole that appears after the loss. To fill it with something positive, let's say, and it's just starting now really to turn that into actionable or actions, let's say.
Yeah. And speaking of actions, what actions would you call us to as a community here at this meeting?
For me, I think there are two things. What that was really surprising for us is that there is no focus. Maybe it's not the right moment to say it, but there's a little focus on children. If we see the last 20 years, what has been done, 200 drugs being developed for adults, where there were only 16, let's say, really for children, of which only 2 really dedicated to children, and not just transposed from adults to children. And then even there, 12 of them are for only 5% of the causes of cancer for children. So it's another target group for let's say, the pharmaceutical industry. I know it's not, and we know it's not profitable to focus on that because the cases are very limited. So I'm from the business world. I know there is no business case behind. So it's from economic perspective, it's not the top priority. So we understand, but that's why it's very important. We cannot keep on stagnating there, and that the industry, public sector works together and have their own roles and responsibility, overarching network, communicating together to make sure, and collaborating to make sure that it makes sense to move forward, because the children are the future, and transposing adult medicines to children is not thinking about the long-term effects, because even if they survive, we are not looking enough at long-term effects of all this.
Well, that is a great call to action because we do indeed have work to do, and I love your plan. So I want to thank you. And in fact, it's the perfect segue into talking about the 2 project winners, because both of them are working to make your dream a reality, all our dreams a reality. So if we could go ahead and show the video, and then I'll pass it over to you, Carl, to introduce the first winner. please tell us a little bit about winner number one.
Well, greetings, everybody. Yes, it's my honor and pleasure to talk about the winner of the first award on the patient nonprofit category. So the winner is TUCA, the Association for Children and Adolescents with Cancer, who presented a project called Advancing Pediatric Brain Tumor Care in Latin America through Molecular Classification and Precision Medicine. So this was the purpose of this project is to address significant challenges faced by Latin American countries in diagnosing and treating medulloblastoma, which is the most common brain tumor in children, by developing and implementing low-cost molecular classification algorithm for medulloblastoma, with the aim to improve patient outcomes, treatment strategies, while constraints that limit access to advanced diagnostic and therapies. The team is led by Dr. Sidney Appelman, with molecular biologist Antonio Fernando Purifica Song Jr., pathologist Ronaldo Modesto de Souza Filho, radiologist Lucas Vieira, and neurosurgeon Roberta Rader. The project scored high in many categories, including on clarity of project, innovation, sustainability. Addressing inequality was a big thing. Addressing inequality access to precision medicine, both in high-income areas and low-income areas. And particularly, we like the fact that the impact of this project would not only assist many treatment centers in Brazil, but also there is collaboration across South America, including countries like Mexico and Chile and Peru and so forth. So we really like that it would have a real impact on the patients, also support the medical professionals as well, and have a very wide and deep impact on the treatment of childhood cancer. So on behalf of POPIA, congratulations to the team, well done, and it's our pleasure to offer you the award for this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Dr. Appelman, as you may know, I've been a fan of yours for decades, watching what you've been developing for, especially for children in Brazil and especially for children with brain cancer. So it's such a pleasure to see this grant, like putting more icing and more cake and more icing. And now this is a cherry on top. So please take it away and inspire us once again.
Well, I have to thank you. It's a very emotional moment to get this, because it's a long-term fight to do this, because it's not easy. As I'm sorry about hearing stories, and I've seen a lot of stories during my last 40 years doing that in my entire life of as a pediatric oncologist. So I make that very summary that I can, if I say before starting the main purpose, is to give access for something that is very necessary, is very expensive for all the world, especially in countries with limited resources like Brazil and other Latin American countries. So that was done in partnership, where I also run most of the patients, the Santa Marcelina Saúde Hospital in eastern part of São Paulo. It's a very poor area of the city of São Paulo, and the faculty of Santa Marcelina as well, together with the TUCA, giving the support. I think I need, and I think the summary is that what we have to do is give 100% of chance of cure, as I said before, even if we don't get that, but we have to give that for the patients, for the parents, for the family, and that's our main mission, because with that, the parents can really cope with us with this at this period of life. That's not easy. I would say that nobody take it in your back and say, "Are you prepared for that now?" For the parents, nobody's prepared for that. So we have to to be prepared to go along with them, and again give them the best, and how to give precision medicine for them. So the mission of the TUCA this year is the silver anniversary. As you can see, is a nonprofit organization that offers high-quality multidisciplinary treatment to children and adolescents with cancer. And the mission is what we have. I somehow already described. And I think I need the slide before, but just to show that because the precision medicine or molecular aspects that nowadays is the true, we cannot come back. It's not available for everybody here in the country because it has to be paid by our national insurance. Even for many private patients don't have the knowledge to get that, not only for brain tumors, but also for many other diseases that was shown in the slide before, that somehow it goes a little bit faster. So if you can come back, yeah, thanks. So we developed this pathology and molecular biology laboratory because it's very hard to have, and as a rare disease, we don't have so many pathologists well trained to give the central review and also add molecular studies for those patients. So we are not doing only for brain tumors, but also for retinoblastoma, sarcoma, and many other diseases, because it's very important to implement that now as a workup procedure and give the best chance with the knowledge that comes. And again, not and specifically for the purpose of this grant, we develop what to do for the patients with medulloblastoma. That now is no longer a research. It's the knowledge is important as a consensus already by the World Health Organization. It's not something only that's still a question. So we have to know who are the 4 distinct molecular groups associated with varying prognostic outcomes, and also we had to develop something that was not so expensive to be able to give the results for us, and not only for us, for the more children that are need. So with that, we will be much better results, much better prognostic factors, better treatment, target therapy, precision medicine will be achieved, and with the consequence, fewer side effects. Because with that, we can even, that I never thought it would be able in the beginning of my career, that we could decrease, for instance, the radiotherapy for those patients. So giving less radiotherapy for these patients is something that makes a difference when the patient be cured to have a normal life. So that was a few. I can give you much more examples of the importance, but that's the importance of that. And then also, as I already mentioned, we couldn't do that only for our own patients. It's even a big number, not enough. So we opened that for not only for the public hospitals in Brazil, but others around the Latin America, because the problems are the same. I think to be able to give access for those patients for molecular studies is not a problem of Latin Americans around the world, because in other countries you have to pay for that if you don't have good insurance and so on. So that's also a problem, not only for Latin America, that can be multiplied for many other places. And we can try to be able to give that for as much as possible. So with this grant, with this especially moment that we are living this, and thanks for Bayer for supporting us now to help more children around Latin America, and maybe others in other areas, that will be able to get this important result that will give what I believe, and I keep repeating, that's to give the best chance for our patients, even the result is not the best. I think it's so important for the parents to know that we are doing that, and for us as well. And then it's a way to keep going if the results are good, but also if the results are not good. And that's, I think, independent of the patient has a very high income or not, we have to give, and that give us equity of treatment. And that's also very important for everybody. And that's, I think, is a privilege for me and for all my group and for all the supporters, and again, Bayer, to support us with this prize. because that's a privilege to be able in life to give or to give access for those adolescents and children that need and are facing a so devastating disease. But because even though with the good results or not, it's not the way. It's not easy for anybody that unfortunately has to face that. So I think I also have to again come back with one more slide, please. So I have to thank all the group, not only the team from this project, but all the pediatric oncologists, everybody in the hospital, the Santa Marcelina group, I mean the hospital and the faculty, all support donors, because also without money, unfortunately, we can't do all these new, not only for molecular biology, as Dina also mentioned about the new drugs, high-cost drugs. So and also it's with this prize is very it's stimulates us to keep doing, because it shows that we are really in the proper way, and I hope more people get involved with that, and they're more than happy to help anybody that needs to do the same or needs some experience and share everything we have done in the last years to be able to be in this moment getting this prize. Thanks again for all of you. It was a privilege to be part of this and be the winner of this so special prize. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. Please, everyone, even if you're by yourself, just give him a round of applause wherever you are. Thank you so much. And congratulations on winning the award for the patient organization. And we now will pass on to a video about the second award, which goes to a healthcare organization. And so there was one winner from each category. If you could go ahead. Roll the video of the finalists. So as you see, once again, there were 4 terrific semifinalists from which only one could be selected. And over to you, Professor Ben Westphalen, to announce the winner.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Also from my side, Munich, Germany. It's my great pleasure to introduce the winner of the second category, and that's PopCare. So the project from Portugal. PopCare aims to address an unmet need, namely bringing precision oncology to pediatric cancer patients in Portugal through really creating a precision medicine platform named PopCare. And us as the jury, what we really liked here is this approach is building upon a multi-stakeholder engagement. It brings together healthcare institutions, molecular diagnostics labs, patient advocates, research associations, medical associations and the pharmaceutical company to team up to build a structure that will allow molecular testing of over 250 pediatric cancer patients in the startup phase. And we as the jury really liked this approach of seed funding, building structures that will then carry on the concept of precision oncology for these patients in Portugal. And there is a lot to be said about this project, but it's easier for the PI, Professor Lima from Portugal, to tell us a little bit more what the team around PopCare is aiming for. So, George, from my side, congratulations. You are spearheading a really, really great initiative here, and I'm really looking forward to your talk.
Thank you very much, Ben. Greetings, everyone from all over the world, I guess. It's a great pleasure being here, and I would first like to express my gratitude for being awarded with this Precision Oncology Award, and also in the name of everyone in PopCare team, that, as you can see from this first slide, is composed by different institutions from all over the country in Portugal. So this is really about multidisciplinarity in Portugal. This is really about bringing every different organization that comes with different expertise towards the project. And we are lucky enough to being able to bring them all together in one sole initiative so that we can move forward with precision medicine for pediatric oncology patients. Let me see if I can come back again. No. Here we are. So different stakeholders that we have engaged with are clinical centers, here represented by IPO Porto, São João Hospital, the Pediatric Hospital in Coimbra and IPO Lisboa. These are the 4 centers that treat children with cancer in Portugal. And then we have also the molecular diagnostics laboratories. We have Ipatimub in Porto and the medical faculty in Coimbra, and these will give the molecular diagnosis to all the tumors that we can evaluate. And then these studies that we will do will be bridged to the society, will be led to the clinicians and to the science researchers and to the community by the means of the patient organizations that we have included, that are Acreditar and Evita. And then we will have research institution organizations like ASPIC and Fundação Rosório de Castro. And we will also have the Portuguese Society for Pediatric Hematology and Oncology that will be fundamental for diffusing the knowledge and diffusing everything into the medical and scientific communities. So this is the way that we are planning to engage on pediatric medicine for pediatric oncology. And we will tackle the unmet needs in Portugal, because we will complement and we will overcome the limited access that we currently have concerning the cutting-edge molecular techniques. We will also overcome some logistical and financial difficulties in requesting molecular studies, because many times doctors do know which are the molecular studies, but they do not have the logistics to do it. And that's also why we will build a streamlined referral system, so that everyone knows exactly what to ask and who to ask for, so that they have the results on time and able to use it for the clinical decisions. We will also have the means to translate the molecular results into actionable benefits, because the way that we are planning is to have multidisciplinary meetings, so-called molecular tumor boards. And in that forum, we can discuss all together with different expertise, so that we can find together the best therapeutic option for each children with cancer. This is the workflow. So it all starts from the healthcare providers, from whom the molecular testing providers will get the tumor samples, and then the results are delivered back to the clinician. But probably one of the key aspects here is the molecular tumor board. So that's the forum where we all can discuss the different aspects of the patient, the molecular, but also every other aspect that is important to the clinical decision. So we want to, in the end of a molecular tumor board, to be able to recommend the best possible therapeutic option for each patient. And then the medical societies, patient advocates, and research associations will actively engage with us in all steps of the process, so that they can deliver to the community, to the patients, to their families, every information that we can provide them with, so that they are better informed, because a better informed patient and family is certainly a better treated patient. We expect to have more engagement of patients, to be able to network with different experts around the world, Europe, etc., and to build upon our communication and diffusion abilities, so that this is truly transposed to society. So finally, we have some impact parameters that we expect to deliver. So because we are doing this on a national level, we will provide the equitable access to the best molecular tests and treatment options coming from there on. From this, of course, we expect to increase the number of patients that receive personalized treatments, and so that they can have more effective treatments and not being subject to treatments that might not be as effective. It might lead to secondary effects that are not desirable, of course. And there's something that we have to improve a lot in Portugal, which is the clinical trials and the clinical trial enrollment. And we believe that because we have the streamlined molecular testing capabilities, we can have more capacity to enroll patients in clinical trials, national and international. All this will provide a specialized training, because we will all be in an environment where we will discuss the latest therapies, the latest clinical approaches. So we will provide specialized training to those involved. We also expect to the treatment costs be able to reduce them, accelerate the new drugs into the market, because we will show the targets for these drugs and how can they be important. For the community, patients and the families, we will increase the awareness for precision medicine, and again, enhance the patient engagement for all these initiatives. So this is a summary of the project. I'm pretty sure we will be able to do it, and we hope in the near future we can show you some of these results. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. And now the floor is opening to you, dear colleagues from all over the world. Please put your questions in the chat and in the texting section, because we're going to open to the panel. I also want to thank the many of you who sent encouraging words to Dana. Many of us here know what it's like to face cancer or to have a child who faces cancer. So I really appreciate your words of encouragement. And the floor is open for more of that and any questions. Because Dana, I love how you opened this meeting. I love Sydney has heard you. Jorge has heard you. They develop projects to do exactly what you want. There's a third person on this panel who also has heard you, and that is Vadim Bernard Gauthier from Bayer. And Bernard, I wonder, Vadim, I wonder if you could lead us off by saying, why is this topic important? Why is Bayer putting effort behind this for unrestricted support for molecular projects, regardless of your products? And I want everyone to know that this whole thing had nothing to do with Bayer products. It was precision medicine. It's opened the door. So it's really to support the things Dana was talking about.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ordwell. I think global programs like POPIA and other local Bayer spur initiatives that, again, are not linked to our products really offer an opportunity to support impactful projects which have the potential of positively impacting patients' life, like we've seen today. Over the last 3 years, the POPIA program specifically, I think, received over 80 proposals from more than 20 countries. So we received many proposals related to access to diagnostics, for example, biomarker testing, and I think this speaks to a great unmet need that these types of grants can help address in different countries. And this is, of course, an area that we think is really, really important. So I can say that we're very honored and very pleased to be able to support the community, and we look forward to seeing the results of this program and the project selected this year.
Thank you. Everyone appreciates your support. And I wonder if also you could comment on how do you see not just Bayer, but the role of industry in general, responsibility for access to pediatric development of new drugs, because it's a really tough question.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Well, this is my opinion, but if we look at drug development overall, I think we can all agree that industry has responsibilities every step of the way, from early discovery to all the way to post-approval phase. Essentially, we need to leave no stone unturned. And you know, it's one thing to have the right regulatory framework in place, but beyond that, I think we need to be diligent, and we need to be efficient, and we need to be fast, and do everything we can to identify innovations and solutions in a timely manner. And this requires a lot of collaboration. And maybe one last thing, certainly the most important one, I think we must, in everything we do, we must put patients and their families first, so that ultimately we can have and keep having a positive impact on this problem.
Yeah. Thank you. Ben, we have a question for you. How do you help families of adults with cancer discuss testing with their healthcare team? We talked a lot about children today.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. So I believe it starts with training a tech-savvy or genomics-savvy workforce when it comes to oncologists these days. I mean, Scott, you and I, we had the pleasure to learn about precision oncology, to learn about molecular biology as we grew up and as we trained. So we were there from the start. So we were able to gain experience. But for younger doctors, all of that needs to be implemented in their management of cancer patients. So what I believe nowadays is that through peer-to-peer teaching, through implementation into curricula, but also through building information materials for our patients to make this dialogue better and more understandable. I can give a couple of examples. So in the US, there are a couple of peer-to-peer teaching systems, so virtual molecular tumor boards. The colleagues from University of Nice are building a master's program in molecular pathology to have more young pathologists really engaging in molecular pathology. And then we at University of Munich, with a couple of other partners, are trying to build a master's program in precision oncology with support from the German Cancer Aid. And last but not least, the new Lancet Commission on Cancer Omics has a track for education in precision oncology, which focuses both on the healthcare professionals, but also on the patients. So there is a lot to be done, but we won't be able to communicate properly and explain why it is so important to do biomarker testing, even while the results might come back biomarker negative to our patients.
Oh, that's terrific. Thank you so much. And Carl, I think you might be able to add to this. What role can Child Cancer International? You can harness the power of thousands of parents and advocates around the world. How would you sort of extend this from the parent side?
Yeah, no, certainly a good question. I think we want to use our power as patient and parent groups and survivor groups to bring attention to the needs. I think a big issue that we often find, particularly in developing countries, is one is just a lack of awareness that there is the molecular testing and the biomarkers, and people, they don't know too much about cancer. The parents, they get told this is the type of cancer, you get the treatment, and they just believe that the treatment they're getting is the best, most accurate, effective treatment. So I think that's something we as parent groups, patient groups can do, is to educate them on what's available. And of course, advocacy for these kind of testing to be made more widely available, both across countries where there's inequalities, but also within countries, as was mentioned in Brazil. Even you'll have some more central areas where there's access to it, and then the more rural areas that are not. And also helping to develop resources for this. So, in some areas we also help to raise resources that we can channel to these institutions that help them with the costs for testing. So I think it's bringing awareness and also putting that constant pressure on to make the best. We have the slogan that every child deserves the best treatment they can get, and just making and working towards that goal.
Hear, hear. Well, if we could go around to each of the panelists and winners and just give us one sentence to carry with us as we close out this really inspirational meeting. Let's start with you, Sydney.
Well, maybe I'm a little
one
bit
sentence, not easy, but you can do it.
Because that's we do. We have to keep trying to give the best for the patient, the best chance. I think that TUCA it's 100% for the cure of cancer. It means that we have to give the best chance for the patient. I think that's it's like Paganini. You have to go around and around, but that's our mission, so we have to do that. And again, the access, I think, is the key word. As Carol said, we have to give the access for that, because even we know a lot of things, especially in developing countries, we have to give access for that. Otherwise, it's just something that is not doesn't get to them.
Thank you, Ben. Closing thoughts
again for all of you, of course. Thanks. Bayer especially, but even on behalf of, I don't know if I said, it's very also inspiring and also stimulating us to keep going. So thanks again for all efforts from your group.
Thank you. Ben, closing thought.
Yeah, it's been a great pleasure to be part of the jury again. I'm very honest here. I thought me as a adult oncologist, is this really the right place for me to be? And to be honest, it has been the right place. It has been so inspiring to learn from all the applicants, and then to see how ambitious our winners really are, and also those who were not awarded this year. The invitation to apply again next year with this seed funding, you can really go long ways, and I'm really excited to see what Portugal and Brazil are going to put on the map in terms of pediatric precision oncology. And yeah, I'm looking forward to future endeavors together. And thanks for Bayer to providing funding in an area where funding still is scarce, and leading the way in precision oncology.
Thank you. Closing thought, Vadim.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank everybody that joined today, and really congratulate the winners, but also all participants, and really looking forward to next year as well.
Thank you. Georgie.
Yeah, so thank you again to the reviewers and to Bayer for this opportunity. And I guess I would say that from our side in Portugal, we feel that we are dealing with such a diverse and rare diseases that we can only accomplish great things if we work together towards the same purpose. So the thing that made me more happy in this PopCare initiative is that we were able to bring almost everyone in Portugal towards the same goal. So I'm pretty sure that we will be able to do it. Thank you again.
Thank you, Carl. Carl, closing thought. Oh, you're on mute, my friend. Please unmute your microphone. We don't need another pandemic to master the teams.
Apologies. No, just thank you from me as well. It's been a great experience, being part of it, and yeah, there were so many good projects proposals that we kind of wish we could give a lot more awards, but I think we picked two great projects, and wish you all the best and have a big impact.
Thank you, and Dana, bring us home.
Yes, from my side, I have all confidence, full confidence in that solutions will be found in the future, and that makes also a sad feeling like, okay, he was just born, my son was just born too early to have already the right solutions. But I cannot imagine that there are parents that are losing their child right now just because they didn't receive the good existing treatment already, just due to lack of coordination and communication. So I think that's even worse. And I was very thankful to be in a developed country where we had access to every possibility that we had to cure him. Because that's what we did. We did our best. We did all what we could do. And we didn't succeed, of course, but at least that's one of the concerns that we don't have. We made all of it out of it, and just try to. What we can do today is just to be organized, to make sure that everybody at least received all they could receive with the possibilities we have today. And I think this is a very good award, let's say, or initiative to go to that direction. Thank you all.
Oh, thank you. And thank you to all 6 panelists. Thank you to Bayer for supporting this work. Thank you to, there are quite a few people behind the scenes, dear participants, who are making sure that the live stream works, and we'd like to thank you. And finally, thank you participants for sending in the really, really kind comments and questions and encouragement. Unfortunately, we didn't have time for all the questions, but I hope to see many of you at the International Pediatric Oncology Society meeting in 1 week in Ottawa, Canada. And I know I will. So please bring your questions there. Several of the people on the panel will be participating there. And so I really, really appreciate it. To see if there's one urgent one. Yeah, I don't think we have time. These a couple of really tough questions, but thank you so much for your participation. And I think we'll close it here and look forward to seeing you in Canada. Take care.
Bye.